and that's what I'm teaching my daughter is like you have to suffer to achieve success. Like if you don't suffer, if you avoid suffering your whole life, you'll just be a loser. You'll never accomplish anything because that's just the easy way out, and it's really the hard way out because you're going to suffer. Then you're going to suffer in a bad way because life will just take a shit on you if you don't put in the effort. Because it's not going to. There is no.
If you like that?
There's no bailout for
If you like
regular people.
Some people like.
Well,
that's why Neil has restricted access on the iPad. So.
Fix that mic, dude.
What do you mean?
It's like pointed at your throat. It looks like you're speaking through your throat.
It's like you're being assaulted by a mic. There you go.
I'm not good with mics. I'm not in a profession that requires them.
Well, yeah, right.
I'm not good with mics, people, crowds, or talking.
But this been your profession for 30 years.
Yes, somehow still. Because TS got them jokes.
You just like doing things that you're not good at.
That's right.
That's what you're saying.
That's right. That's why I tried marriage. Do you like trying things you're not good at?
Of course, yeah. Sometimes. Depends on what it is. If I'm interested in it, yeah.
What's kind of the last thing like that you were like, I'm not good at this, I want to get good at it?
Guitar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I started playing guitar when I was 16, but I just played around with it. I didn't learn it. And then about, I don't know, 5, 6 months ago, I started playing it.
Were you just doing the same thing you were doing when you were 16, and then you're like, you know what, I'm not going to get nowhere. I need to learn this, or what was the process?
My buddy Jeremy came by to hang out, and he had mentioned he played the drums, and I started playing the drums back in like 2018, maybe 17, 18.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that too. That's another thing I couldn't do that I started doing.
I remember an interview with Seinfeld where he made a point where he's like, a lot of really good comics are former drummers.
I think a lot of artists just express themselves in many different ways. I think we just enjoy finding ways to express our feelings, and music's a good one. It's because it's all feeling. And but I told Jeremy, I was like, hey dude, let's see what you got on the drums, man. I'd like to see a really good drummer play these drums that have been tortured by me for 4 years.
Right? Why didn't you bother to learn the drums?
I learned them a little bit. I can play them a little, and but he got down there and he's just like killing it. I was like, well, I'll grab my guitar and try to jam with you, and we created some cool music. It actually it sounded good, like the stuff that I was playing. So I was
and you didn't know what you were doing?
I mean, I know some basics, but I didn't. I knew like zero music theory, and I just knew a few different chords, but I wasn't even playing chords. I was just playing things that sounded good, and it sounded like music. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I used to jam with some guys in high school occasionally on the weekends, and it was pretty fun. But, we didn't have the internet or anything, so I didn't have access to all the information I have today to learn and get inspiration and all that stuff. It was sort of just, back then it was just three guys just hanging out, just jamming, and but now, you can get lessons from the best guitar teachers in the world on YouTube, and it's the information is just so accessible. So I mean, I've learned more in the past 5-6 months on the guitar than I've learned over the past 20 years.
Do you have like a couple specific teachers that you found? Like, do you go like, oh, I always liked the way whatever Eddie Van Halen played, I want to go look and see what he ever said about it? Or did you? There's
probably 3 or 4 that I follow on YouTube that are really good, and I also have a teacher in Greensboro, Jeff. What's Jeff's last name?
Why do you need the teacher?
Well, it's good to have a person. Jeff Swanson. I can't believe I couldn't think of his last name. He's a really good guitarist. But having a local guy to just show what you're doing, it kind of keeps you in check, and it also keeps you accountable. And he can show me, he can correct any mistakes that I'm doing. If I'm doing something incorrectly, or if I'm maybe learning something in a way that's forming a bad habit or something, he can prevent that, you know. And he'll also give me other assignments to do that I'll do in addition to all the stuff I'm learning on YouTube.
Okay.
And it just, you know, I'm just pulling little pieces here and there, little bits of information, and then every time I play, I'll add in a new thing or a couple new things, and every time, you know, you learn something new, and it gets a little better and a little more complex. And
so did you start like, I'm going to try to play the stuff off of YouTube, and then realize, oh, I want to get somebody that knows guitar that I go get lessons from, and then go find him from there? Or did you start with him and then?
I started on YouTube.
Okay.
And then just, you know, quickly learned. I learned some scale patterns and some stuff about like the cage system, and I'm learning, you know, I've learned like the major scale, the minor scale, and those types of things, and just starting to put those together. I
don't have the patience. I want to just be able to, for most things, you know, that takes patience to like.
It does.
I'm going to start learning a new thing. It's
hard too, but it's, you know, I read an article before I started playing guitar that said playing an instrument is a great way to prevent dementia, and also to keep your brain active and healthy. And it does make a difference. It makes you sharper, and it's also great for creativity. I always do my creative stuff at night, or most of it. I'll do some of my writing in the morning or during the day if I have time.
It's not where just ideas hit you and you jot them down and then come back.
I always do that. Yeah, I'm constantly doing that all day.
Okay.
Either recording ideas or writing down notes. That's 24/7. But
and then when you sort of go through is it voice memos or notes?
I'll record voice to text notes, and then usually sometimes I do voice memos if I'm just
right.
If I have a lot of ideas, I'll just start recording voice memos, and I record voice memos every night too, just when I'm doing all my creative stuff, just to have, because I have a good idea, so I don't lose it.
Right.
And then if I have one that I really like, I'll just talk about it on stage. And if it becomes a bit, then I'll keep updating it, recording it, listening to it, and then I'll eventually write it into my set.
So when you go through those, do you have like a couple different notebooks or where you start to separate comedy, music, business ideas?
Yeah, I'm a database guy. Yeah, so this is my notes database, and it's pretty comprehensive. And then
show it to the camera.
Oh
Wow.
So for different things, and then like these are my comedy notes. So these are like current ideas that I'm working on.
Right.
And it just goes on and on and on. And sometimes I'll go back through my notes too.
I do the same thing, and it's just an endless supply of. Same with my notebooks. It's
because it was a funny idea.
Supply of ideas and thoughts and
right
shit that doesn't work, and then it's and then I end up with. Then I got to start another file, you know, and then it's.
Here, I'll show you
a notebook or whatever. But eventually, I go back through it all enough that I'm pretty sure what isn't and is usable.
Here, I'll show you. This is a pretty cool jam that me and Jeremy did recently. Then I'm on the guitar here.
Starts playing Freebird.
I know. You know this set. This is like somebody like. Let me show you pictures of my son playing baseball. Go with a riff that you have and you're like, let's see what we can do around this, or do you just start playing and then you just like jazz, you just start doing what feels, and then you're like, oh, that's kind of
it's just all feeling. We just jam. We'll start jamming, or we'll play like a backing track with just something simple like a synth or maybe a simple chord progression or something, and just jam along with it.
And now, how long will you give this thing that you're learning that you're bad at? Like, how long will you, is it like, oh, now I love this, and now this is going to take up, there goes another 3 hours a week.
It's just a part of my life now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It works because it's a creative thing, so I can just fit it in with my creative endeavors. So it doesn't, if it's something that's going to take away from something else, I won't do it. But if it's something I can attach to the things I'm currently doing, and I feel like it adds to what I'm doing,
right,
then I'll pursue it. So because while we're jamming and stuff, we also do a lot of writing. So in between songs, you're getting in that creative flow state. So then in between songs, I might start talking about a bit I'm working on or an idea that I have, and then we'll just shoot ideas back and forth with each other. And I've written a lot of new material just jamming.
Are you going to become a guitar comic now?
No, but I do want to start doing live performance with guitar though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to work it into the act somehow. Me and Jeremy have talked about, building a show, but it'll still be music and comedy, but it is sort of a combo.
It does give you a definite, like, here's the end of the joke. Applaud. When the song ends, like that last strum.
Well, I don't want to do the jokes with the song, but I'd like to just play and do comedy.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like in the back, you're just sort of, yeah. I was thinking when you're saying it like that, I'm working on all this, trying to be present a lot. That's like my thing,
Yeah.
This feels like that's a thing music would do. Like you're saying, it's almost.
It keeps you in the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel present right now, Tom?
I do.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do too, yeah.
How do you do that?
Not trying to do it.
No, I generally have to try to do it.
I'm trying to do
most
that.
of the time I have to try to do it, but other times I'll find myself there. And when I'm comfortable.
Yeah, I think that's key, being comfortable.
But there's also that line like being like I also know we're recording. You can't just be comfortable. Like when I'm watching stand-up comedy, right? Like you watch people that are hilarious for years, and then we get comfortable on stage, get comfortable enough to not be funny, if that makes sense. Right?
Yeah, you just feel like you're just up there talking to people.
And then as an audience member, you're like, what happened? This guy's not funny anymore, And it's such a weird balance between being in the moment and comfortable and realizing I got a fucking performance to do.
Yeah, I'm trying to. That's one of the things I'm really working on is being in the moment on stage. Because as soon as I think about what I'm saying or what I'm gonna say, it messes up the set. I feel like the most important aspect of comedy for me is my point of view. Like having a strong point of view. Even in acting, it's like that. And as soon as I think about what I'm saying or I try to filter my thoughts, it kind of kills the magic, But when I can get up there and I can just go and just have a strong point of view about what I'm saying and just really engage with the crowd and the audience and individually connect with people, then I feel like it goes really well and it's fun.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't ever sit down and be like, what's my point of view?
I don't do that, but it's like, your point of view is what you're saying. Like, why am I saying what I'm saying? What am I trying to say? What am I trying to articulate to these people? And what does it mean? What's the message I'm trying to convey in what I'm saying? And that's my point of view. And when I can do that from the same place that gave me the idea originally, that's when it's fun, and it seems to work.
Yeah, I spend so much time thinking about comedy, but when I talk to other comics sometimes about the way they break down their set, the way they break down the write, it's like I don't feel like that's how I do it. I don't really know. It's just something makes me laugh and I write it down.
Well, you've done it so long, too.
Or something pisses me off and I write. But that's sort of how I've always done it.
Well, I do that too.
But
then I have to say it to the crowd though, and with that same point of view. Why? Because it means something to me. It's like a truthfulness. It's like I'm really saying what I mean and what I'm feeling, and I really care about this thing. But if I'm trying to remember what I'm trying to say, and I'm trying to say what I wrote down, or
the connection is broken. Then.
Yeah, it's like I'm not being honest. It's like I don't care enough about what I'm saying. It's like you guys don't believe me. But if I'm just able to, if I know exactly what I'm going to say. And I know why I'm saying it.
Next time you're on stage, a pair of pants, and you're going to be like, I'm missing my leg from the dude. I like bullshit. I'm going to make you show it.
Show it.
Yeah, I'll show it.
So what goes into planning a comedy show, Neil? You just had one
Oh,
this
that's
past
right.
weekend.
How's that?
Oh, yeah.
What's like? Yes, the good call, Seth.
Hmm.
You have a venue
here.
that
Well-
has comedy now.
Well, I don't have a Daniel and some of his business partners own a nice venue down in Jacksonville, and they wanted to do a comedy show. So we planned the show that we did last weekend with John Reap, and it was fun. It was
Funny guy.
yeah, really funny dude.
He
Real
is
nice
really-
dude
he
too.
is
Yeah,
really
super
nice
cool.
guy.
I can't tell you. He's one of those guys where I can't tell you one joke of his, but I
You
know he's funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like the one who
He's
was
a North
saying-
Carolina guy too. He lives
Yeah.
just over
Hickory
in
or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
By the way, I stopped in Hickory on the way to Asheville for Owen's baseball game,
Yeah.
and then realized Serena left her shoes in the driveway, so we had to go into a store, a Hemrick's or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know that store?
Yeah.
had to go
We
to
had a
Hickory
Hemrick when I was a
Dock.
kid.
Okay, I never heard of it before. And we go in there, and then it's like there's a Hemrick, and then next to it is another place that's like a poorer version of Hemrick's.
Hemorrhoids.
Yeah, yes. And I just can't. I couldn't. It felt very country. Like it
Yeah.
felt like Cracker Barrel opened up a
Shoe store.
like a shoe and clothing store.
It is called
And
Hickory.
I cannot believe. I walked around a little bit like, do people buy this stuff?
We don't call
it's kinda-
911.
It's kind of like Mountains Light,
What's that?
like the light version of the mountains.
Oh. I was like, what's
It's
that?
like the Edge.
Yeah.
It's sort of a mountain type town.
It was
but it's,
it
it's
was
nice, though.
strikingly country, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
that didn't really. For some reason, it didn't really occur to me that that's real.
Yeah.
What's kind of out there by itself,
Yeah,
and it's the first.
but it's only like an hour, 42 hours from here, maybe.
Not even, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the first city on the way to the mountains that feels like kind of like the mountains,
Yeah, it might be.
I think. But it's pretty popular now. It's becoming more and more like Asheville, I think.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
didn't seem that way.
But it's
It seemed like where the Trump supporters from Asheville moved.
the guy who saved my life, Sean,
What do you mean saved your life?
put a tourniquet on my leg
Oh,
after
okay.
my accident. He's from there. and
Let's
he,
say that.
He's actually
Why'd
friends
you
with John.
Saved your life.
Why'd you say it like it was such an underachievement?
Because he's so negative.
I'm not. I just. He
You know how to do
the
a
guy who
tourniquet?
saved my life. He put a tourniquet on you. It's not like he did.
Well, if he hadn't done that, I would be dead.
Yes,
We
the-
wouldn't be here right now.
the
The
guy
studio wouldn't
behind
exist.
him would have done that. You know what I mean? Somebody would have stopped the bleeding.
Dude, there were like 60 people standing there doing nothing,
Really?
just watching me die.
Is that true?
Seriously, yeah. They were just like, oh, this is a show. Let's watch this happen.
Yeah. And then after that, you're like, well, if I can die in front of people, I can die on stage. What do
Ah,
I
that
have to be
reminds me
scared
of
of now?
Nothing to lose, yeah.
That reminds.
I've already
now,
died in front of 60 people. I
Yeah.
can,
Now
I
he
can be
can't
dumb.
draw 60 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
You have to fake accidents and then lay there dying and then
If
hop
you-
up and be like, "Hey!"
If you cut your leg off, you'll get a crowd.
Yeah. That's hard to follow, though. You know.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing that many people just stood around. It reminds me, are you an Eddie Murphy fan at all?
Yeah, sure.
He used to have this bit on the album Eddie Murphy has a rose in his ear and on it about getting hit, a guy witnessing a car accident, a guy getting hit by a car, and the same thing. Everybody's like, I see the whole thing. I just walked down the street, mind my own bit, and it goes through this whole thing, which I can't repeat because it would sound racist, and because the way he said, the language he uses and stuff. But in the end, the guy's laying there on the thing, and he's like, man, damn, are you okay? Your leg bent like this, bro. Look at me. Like, it's like, that's really broke. Are those your shoes? Well, you ain't gonna need those shoes. I just have that image in my head.
It was wild. It was like everyone was standing like from here to that chair over there. So probably, I don't know, 30 feet away. And they wouldn't get any closer. And when my friend got back to me, the guy that hit me tried to do a hit and run.
Oh, that's right. Then he had to go chase
My
him
buddy
down
spun around the intersection and chased him down, and he got his tag and then came back. So he got to me like about a minute after the accident. And by the time he got to me,
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
yeah,
He ran the guy down and got back in a minute.
well, he's in a car. So he just went down and then,
Picture
I
him
couldn't get
running.
out of this parking lot in a minute. Are you kidding me?
well, he drove across the median and came back and then
Okay.
parked. But
He got a truck, don't
By
he?
the time he got back, there was already a crowd building, and he's like, "What's hurt? What's hurt?" I was like, "Man, my leg's busted really bad. I just need a tourniquet on my leg, or I'm gonna bleed to death."
And you had time to think that out.
Yeah, because I was trying to like get my belt, but I couldn't get up. I was just so winded, and
You see all the people, and you're not like
nobody's helping me.
I would have a hard time not giving people shit. Even
and I was
laying
trying
there
to just
bleeding,
stay calm, and then I was like, just get a belt or something, dude. And then he yelled at a guy in the crowd. He's like, somebody give me a belt, or he yelled at the crowd, somebody give me a belt. And the guy ran up and gave him his belt.
Oh, okay.
And then he tied it around my leg, and
Why didn't you just use yours?
couldn't get to
It's
it.
a good belt. I got it in
yeah.
Hickory.
Yeah, it was just.
Oh, I thought you couldn't move to get yours.
I just couldn't get up. I just couldn't get it.
Oh, okay.
And
That's why you should always wear a belt.
yeah, now when I go hike and stuff, I always wear like those nylon belts.
Yeah, that you can like unravel.
Well, no, the buckles on those belts, they're just like cinch buckles.
Oh, yeah.
So they work as tourniquets.
Hmm.
So it's good to have those around.
Yeah.
I keep one of those in my truck too, just in case. You never know.
What kind? Really? Just like a
Just a nylon belt, like like an outdoors belt.
You think that should be in everybody's first aid kit? As a
Yeah,
tourniquet?
for sure, absolutely. Yeah, those belts are pretty good because you can tighten them down as tight as you want, and they'll stay.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah. So they double as a tourniquet.
Huh. Yeah, I would think I would just rip a shirt and fucking, what I mean? You just think you would do all this. I'd just be like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
I'd be one of those people standing on the side of the road. Going, I don't want to get close. I don't know if he has AIDS. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to,
Yeah.
I don't want to get blood on me.
Are you a time traveler from the 80s? I don't know if he has AIDS.
I don't know
sounds like
why.
something an 80s
It
person
does.
would be afraid
I was
of.
trying to think of a blood-borne disease that I would not want to catch. You could still catch AIDS, can't you?
It's
assume
very
so,
unlikely to get it that way.
Huh?
It's very unlikely to
I
get it
feel
that
like
way.
it's more likely to get it from like blood all over the
Maybe
place.
I mean,
see.
coming from than it is from having sex.
You gotta like drink it.
If you ran up and like cut your hand open and tried to be blood brothers with the person with AIDS, that would probably give you AIDS. Yeah.
Oh,
I like how we started.
you're right.
what does
I
it
am from
take-
the '80s. I'm like, hey, you can't even be
Yeah.
around
Yeah,
blood.
you're like, I don't know if I can use the bathroom after this.
Yes.
So we
I'm gonna throw
started
this
out.
toilet seat away.
We started out. What does it take to start a comedy show? And then we ended up with how do you contract AIDS?
Oh yeah, let's get back to comedy show.
Oh yeah,
damn,
yeah.
thank God.
So the
that's-
comedy show was it was a little bit of a challenge, figuring out the marketing and stuff, and then with
What do you mean? What were the challenges?
so it's I guess because of all the ticket sale issues, it's difficult to market ticket sales on Google or social media sites now. So you have to be approved. So I had to create the ads. They got denied. Then I had to appeal the denial, and then it took about a week to
Figure out how to advertise?
for the ticket sales, and then that got approved, but it's still a little confusing using Google Ads. It's pretty complicated, and
Why don't you learn that instead of guitar? Take some Google ad lessons.
well, I'll just hire somebody to do that
so
next time.
that was going to be my next thought.
And then, but I got a rep. I got a Google representative. They assigned someone to our account, and that was extremely helpful. Then she just helped me do the correct ads. So we worked twice, one day, and it was only took an hour each time to set up all the ads. So it was really convenient.
Did they help build the ads for you, or do you build the ads and give them to them?
So I have all the information for the ads. They just help me put it all in the system and select all the correct options and set the right parameters for the ads.
And what did you get from John that made it easier to advertise to his crowd? What did you get from him? Like video? Did he send you a file that had like, here's 10 videos of me, and here's an old commercial that I was in, and blah, blah, and did he send you all that stuff, or did you have to go find it all and then build the?
Well, no. Seth actually created a nice video ad, and then I had a guy do some voiceover work for the ad, and so it was a nice ad. And then we also had a deal with a radio station down in Jacksonville that blasted out on some of the local stations a pretty nice ad for the show. We got a lot of traction. We had like almost 7,000 people go to the ticket site, but the ticket sales weren't great. But at that venue, there's a lot of walk-up traffic.
Right.
And we expected, 200-300 people to walk up just the night of the show from the military base and stuff like that. But apparently someone stole a bunch of weapons down at the base, and the general shut the base down and locked it down so no one could leave the base. So that really hurt our turnout. But we still had, I think, over 100 people there. So it was still a fun show.
Wow. You didn't make any money.
No, but we knew we wouldn't make any money on this one. It was kind of an experiment just to see how to do it, and it's also a little bit of a chance being that far out, But now we have it was a good learning experience. I have a much better idea of how to promote a comedy show now, and a larger comedy show, and how to market it. So I think next time, I know next time it'll be a lot better.
How did you build the commercial, Seth?
He just gave me the voiceover stuff, and then I got some stock footage of flashing lights and a stage. Took a picture of John and made it float, and did all this stuff and made the graphics.
He kind of used the poster that we had for the show,
Yeah.
and animated it.
Yeah, it's gonna come in and
It was nice. It was a nice ad.
lens flares.
There wasn't a bunch of, you didn't have to get a bunch of videos of his appearances on shows and
No.
stuff like that
He has enough notoriety. People know who he is. He recorded a video and sent it to me also. We used that for social media. One of the social media ads.
Right. It always watching comics do that. Like, this week I'm going to be in fucking Seaside or whatever, wherever they're going to be, from their cars or whatever, or from the hotel.
That's all you need.
Is that really effective?
Yeah, for
really?
Sure. If you have a lot of fans, yeah.
Yeah. Like hearing them say the name of a venue that you know about, it's like, oh, wow, that's cool.
It's the new version of the radio.
Yeah.
The radio interviews they used to do, the morning radio stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing that, and doing some in Sarasota next week when I'm there. So and then like Chris and Chris here in town, you do that. You do them.
Yeah.
Some to promote shows.
But it was fun. It was cool. It was a good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. How did Reap like it?
Well, he liked it. Yeah, it was good. He had a good show.
That's cool.
I mean, obviously, he, just like us, wished there were more people there, but because there should have been 400 or 500 people in the audience, but a lot of that was going to be from the base.
Yeah, so it's a military town.
Yeah, it's the Marines. Yeah, Camp Lejeune.
Oh yeah, he definitely is a comic but again.
That's why I selected John Reap, because I knew he would do well.
I wonder though, because area. Like most military now they're what, 18 to 26? It's like in a place
you have
like
officers and stuff too.
Yeah. But is there a new sort of happy redneck that would appeal to that version? You know what I mean? Because he's like their dad. Right?
I would say military guys they're not rednecks, but they're a lot of them are blue collar.
That's a good point.
There are a lot of blue collar guys.
Poor is what they are. Most people in the military can't come from poor.
I'd say a lot of them probably. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I thought about joining the military when I was young.
Why? Because it was
it's just an option.
Would you?
My dad was in the military. My grandfather was in the military. It's it would have. I could have done well in it, but I was like, yeah, I want to make more money.
Right.
And I'm not real crazy about war, so I'm not crazy about I don't like especially now that I understand the politics behind war. I have a big problem with it. I don't think we've had any necessary wars since World War II. I think now it's all about corporate market share and just
console wars,
the control of resources. But
it's the military-industrial machine.
It is. Yeah.
But
at the same time, I do really appreciate our soldiers and what they do, and respect their job. And what really pisses me off is that our politicians take advantage of those guys, because those dudes are they're willing to risk their lives for us and their families and their country, and it's a crime to take advantage of that. I think that's. I think our politicians have.
But don't you think that's crimes? But don't you think that's by design overall? Like the whole hoopla of like the support the troops and the greatest military. We're fighting for freedom. Like all these things that really aren't true that create the mindset of the people like that, all of us that were like, oh, we got to support the military and be in the military and defend my country. But we're not.
There's two sides of it.
Okay.
It's true and it's not. It's true, but there's a disingenuous part of it, and that's the message is true. It's very important to have a strong military because there's a lot of people in the world that would want to kill us and want to have what we have. But there's also an aspect of it where
is that true?
The military is being misused to take other nations' resources, or, in some cases, maybe just go to war because it's financially advantageous. It's a $1 trillion industry. So I think.
So how
do you separate financial incentive from war? How do you separate financial incentive from medical? From healthcare. All these things are conflicts of interest, but our society is riddled with them.
Yes.
So it's a complex system that's got a lot of flaws, But also, I'm happy to be in one of the better systems. I hate...
Or on the winning side of this
right.
this system.
But we're also creating a lot of enemies, so...
Of course. That's why we need a strong military.
Right. It's a paradox. Yeah, we're in a paradox.
Yes.
But I think...
turns out when you bomb a bunch of people and you get the daddy's blood on a little boy or whatever, it's like gremlins. They get that wet blood on them, and then they turn into.
That started out as a real nice sentiment, and then you compared them to gremlins.
Well, what I'm saying is they multiply, and they're like,
you're right.
They multiply and become.
Yeah.
Now you've created more people that hate you.
I have a bit about it. I've got a bit. I talk about how we
Can you do like a gremlin, like with declaring fatwa on Americans?
We'll go to war with a country. We'll go to war with some people, not even a country necessarily. We'll just go to war with some people, like in the Middle East, and the government tells us that these people really hate us, and that's why this war is so important for our national security. We're not sure they hate us so much, but don't worry, because we're fully committed to bombing the shit out of them until they love us.
Yeah, that's right. That's how you create love, isn't it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then
flipping back to like the way the military, like the how you're describing sort of the military industrial complex, which is to create conflict, to create sort of a Cold War, basically, you know what I mean? And to sell this side weapons and this side weapons, and then it creates that tension, and then you got to use those weapons, and then get more weapons. And so how is that different than the arms industry in the United States? Are they not just using the same game plan?
Well, I think the arms industry in the U.S., when it's just domestic arms sales.
Well, we also send a lot to Mexico and stuff too. But
that's different. Yeah, but if you're talking about just domestic weapons sales, I think most Americans that own firearms, I think most Americans feel like the Second Amendment is sort of an intricate part of the Constitution and the society. Because it's this country
because it's been advertised to them.
Well, it was intended that way. It was the idea is that the people are the government.
Right.
In the United States, we're a democratic republic, so the people are supposed to be the government, and the government officials are just really our representatives that are supposed to do what we want them to do. It's been flipped around, but that's how it used to be. And so you have the First Amendment, which means that you're allowed to say whatever you want to say. So you can speak against power. It's really just it gives you the ability to speak out against power. That was the purpose of the First Amendment.
Right.
And then the Second Amendment was
I thought it was to yell at, so you're allowed to yell at umpires.
You could do that too.
Okay.
But the Second Amendment was designed to arm the society so that if the government flipped things on us and tried to control us, they couldn't. They couldn't take away our constitutional rights because we're armed. We can defend ourselves. And so I think that still stands. I think that's a real important aspect of our society. When it comes to things like gun violence within the society and stuff like that, most of that can be traced to poverty. poverty is, I would say poverty creates 99% of the problems in the society as far as with crime and violence and stuff like that, because it's a hopeless state. You know, if you live in poverty, you live in a state of hopelessness, and if you have no hope and nothing to live for, then committing crimes is just part of life in a lot of ways. You know, for a lot of people that are poor, you know, or the temptation to commit crimes is much higher, and also there's a lot of pressure too. I grew up poor, so there's a lot of pressure on you when you're poor. You know, it's like you're always under a tremendous weight of society, and then so you're more prone to violence or aggression or crime. You know, because you're just angry. You know, you're a lot of people that are poor are pissed off. They've had enough. You know, they're working 2 or 3 jobs to put food on the table. They can't spend any time with their kids. It's tough. It's a bad existence. And my family, you know, my parents worked really hard. They were hardworking people. They weren't like lazy people. They were blue collar workers. They worked in millwork jobs, so they worked very hard and barely made it. You know, it was a lot of stress, and it causes domestic violence issues when you're in your house. It's just a constant stress and pressure on a family. If you're lucky enough to even have a family in poverty, that it causes many other problems and leads to other issues.
Money's a motherfucker.
Well, it's a construct, and it's a shitty one. We could do a lot better. You know, it's today's society is just really a corrupt corporatist society designed to benefit the largest, most powerful corporations in the society and billionaires. That's really.
So do you fight against that, or do you work or do you work within that? Like Daniel,
you do both.
I feel like Daniel's like, well, this is our system. I mean, I may be speaking totally out of ignorance, but through some of the conversations I've had with him, it's like, well, that's our system.
Yeah,
so I'm just going to win within that system.
We both feel that way. I mean, that's how we operate. And you have to, because you.
But then you build that system. You strengthen that very system, which you don't.
The only way to change that system is to be successful within the system.
That's the only way.
That's the only way to change it, unless we all work together. And the system is pretty good at dividing us.
Okay. You
know, like you're special and you're different, so we can't be friends. You know, that's how power works. Power becomes powerful by dividing the opposition of the power. And so most people in society have more in common with each other than they do with these bureaucrats, but a lot of people are very susceptible to propaganda.
I wonder if you flipped it and you put those same people in the power, if they would have more in common with the people in power than they do with the people.
I think the key is people shouldn't have power over each other. And then
But that's just nature, isn't it? Like I
don't know.
Every species has like a hierarchy of like this person, this is the leader of the clan.
You can have more successful people in a society. That's fine, but they shouldn't have control over your life. And your government shouldn't have financial interest with business. Your corporations like the.
You don't think it was better when a company, when like a Carnegie or a Ford, like their success was tied to America's success, as opposed to their success now is is business driven worldwide. So they're not necessarily tied to like having an interest in America doing well. You know?
No, corporations on that size are like nation states. They have their GDP, or their net worths are higher than most GDPs or most countries' GDPs. So they're more powerful than most countries around the world. And you know, especially when you get to the largest companies like BlackRock and Vanguard. And,
okay. These are companies I barely even know.
Berkshire Hathaway. You know? Those are like capital investment firms. They own everything. Those companies have interest in every aspect of the economy. They own interest in all the TV networks, all the pharmaceutical companies. You know, they just those businesses.
That's good business.
Yeah. Well, it's good for them.
Yeah.
It's not good for us. But you know, those are the companies that really control the world.
Yeah, I don't want to care about any of that.
Are you feeling less powerless,
well,
Tom?
No, I just don't want to care about any of that. I was thinking, like, I spent a lot of time when I was younger, like, I gotta wake people up to this and change the world and fight against the power and rage against the machine or whatever. You know what I mean? Like now I'm just like, ugh, I have enough trouble just fucking raging against this machine, you know? So I don't care. I care, but there's a futility to it. Like,
too much.
It's overwhelming.
Yeah. Like,
but there's a thing
I can't even get along with all the people in my life, and I want Israel Palestine to get along.
Well, what makes me optimistic is an aspect of technology is very decentralizing, and it's good at dividing power. And we've seen it in our lifetime in the entertainment industry. You know, I mean, just the fact that we can shoot this podcast is a big deal. You know, 20 years ago, you couldn't do this. It would cost you millions of dollars to do this.
Pirates.
And well, you know, when Napster came out with music and people started sharing music for free, it was a huge thing, and we all kind of thought it would get shut down, but it really proliferated, and it removed a lot of the gatekeepers in the entertainment industry. It allowed artists to have more access to an audience. You know, so now you have, instead of just a few good artists, you have thousands, millions of them, and sure, it's harder to make a fortune in the entertainment industry, but at least more people have the opportunity to make it in the entertainment industry now.
Less of a zeitgeist.
Yeah. The zeitgeist is going away. There's so much content now. Like, no one watches the same shit anymore. It's like if you give a reference to something you're watching in one of your sets, then you have to just say it's a show I'm watching, and then people just accept it.
Yeah.
They don't have to know much about it.
You can't be like, what's that anymore.
Yeah, that stuff doesn't exist. Yeah.
Come on. What? There's got to be a few things like that, right?
I mean, very few.
I don't know, man. I think that we're all watching a lot of the same shit.
Name something. What are you watching right now?
I bet we all know who Matt Rife is. I bet we all know who Theo Vaughn is. I bet we all know what.
Well, we're comedians, though.
Yeah, we're all fans.
What Joe Rogan is saying. I mean, I know that
we're comics, though. That's different. But
I couldn't tell you one Matt Rife joke, though. But I know who he is.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I couldn't tell you any of his jokes either.
I don't really.
I know he is because of you.
Yeah.
Because of me.
I think I've heard of him, but I don't know. I don't follow him.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's just like these people that are, you know, I think a lot of, like, not everybody, but
comedies.
But you're right. I can't name his catchphrase.
Yeah. There's no more. Did I do that stuff? You know. There's like nobody. You know.
There's no where's the beef.
Yeah. It's like I could say, like I like the show Secession. I could say quotes from that, and then like I could find the people that like it, but you guys don't. I mean, it's not.
Yes,
I've never watched.
Like a lot of y'all, when you're doing comedy, do references to anime or whatever. I don't even know if I'm, you know, and there's a certain percentage of the crowd that understands that, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know what any of that is.
But people are, you know, now though today, like
Aunt May, isn't she from
Spider-Man?
If you make a reference to something today, though, people don't have to know a lot about it to understand what you're saying. They just know it's something they don't watch.
Or there's memes, you know. Memes are kind of.
Do you know who?
Do
you know who Dusty Slay is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a big comic, but
it's weird. I haven't seen him really around that much for a while. Yeah, for a while. I've been sort of on a Nate Bargatze, like he's in my.
Oh yeah.
He's in my algorithm, so I see him a lot now.
Yeah. I
like that style of just like.
And listen,
here's an argument I had with my wife, and it's like, and
he
just sort of writes around that in a playful way that's not too dicky to her, and also on
it's not
him.
like a take my wife, please.
Yeah.
Like
it's not, and I never really thought to write in that style until I see it, and I'm like, oh, I have tons of those that have happened with them. I would never think, because my instinct is to write like, here's why I'm right and she's wrong, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to just
because you're so negative.
You guys say that. It's one of those things where that's what I project.
Such an angry dude.
I don't really feel like an angry, negative dude all the time.
You just project that, but you don't. It's not you though.
There's something inside of me, obviously, that benefits from feeling that way.
Yeah, no, I feel that way about a lot of things too.
And a lot of my comedy comes from that. It's like the contrast of like, wait a fuck, that's not right.
Yeah, that's just because you want things to be better.
Huh?
You just want things to be better.
Yeah, it's a selfish thing too. Like I want this fucker to do it my way. You know what I mean? I want that guy out of my way when I'm driving. I want whatever those things are. You know, like
that's just age, isn't it?
Maybe. Maybe. I'll actually find myself getting less and less like that. I have flashes of it, and then I recognize it's happening, and I'm like, okay,
That's good.
yeah.
I'm trying to be aware of that stuff too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I've noticed that as you get older, you get a little grumpier.
Yeah.
You get jaded, and also you get frustrated you get tired of shit.
Oh no, I feel like I just got done being kind of grumpy. I feel like I was a pretty grumpy teenager, maybe.
Really?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think a lot, because you have to
Grumpy early 20s guy.
you have to sort of break away from your parents, so it's built into your brain to be like, I have to separate from very rarely do people, I think.
Now I feel like I'm a calm mid-20s guy.
Yeah. Now, have you started to reestablish sort of a relationship with your parents that's a different thing now, or?
I mean, yeah, sort of. I mean, like my first tattoo, like I hid from my parents for a long time because I was like, oh, they're my parents. And now I got the second one, and then I have it on YouTube, and it's like, you are my parents, but we're dudes. We're just guys.
You're an adult,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm an adult. We're all adults. We're dudes.
Yeah.
We're humans.
Right.
So yeah.
My parents never really got in my business. They
were too busy being poor and working 3 jobs.
they worked hard, but I didn't go. I never caused them any problems. So I was a pretty mature kid, and then I started working when I was 14. So I was kind of like a roommate with my parents through high school as a teenager, and I didn't get in trouble, and I was smart enough to stay out of trouble, and I would still sneak off and drink and stuff like that, but I would just do it responsibly with my friends, and we were all nerds anyway. We were playing video games, playing computer games and stuff. So I wouldn't cause my parents any issues, and I stayed out of trouble, and I worked and kept my room clean, just took care of my stuff, and just did my own thing. And I love my parents too. They're, we had our issues as a family when I was growing up, but I love my parents dearly, and my dad, he was one of my close friends, so.
How'd you meet your wife?
The gym.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Said hey to her after 3 years
of
walking past her.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to get married?
Yeah.
No, we just met at the gym. We knew each other for a few years before we even started dating. And that's pretty common. Most people meet their wives at work or at a gym or somewhere local, somewhere within your community.
Right.
Yeah, that's how we met.
And then you were like friends for 2 years. Then you were like, we should hook up.
We were probably friends for 4 years maybe before we went on a date together. Yeah.
Huh.
But we were in other relationships before too, so it wasn't an option. But when we were single, though, we started talking and then went on a date, and it was
lovely.
It was great. Yeah. Found out she loved 80s rock music, and I was like, heck yeah.
Yeah. Like Bon Jovi and
anything but Bon Jovi.
Yeah, anything but Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I'm not a Bon Jovi fan, but some of the other stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
No, we just like music. We both like music a lot.
Were you dating her when you lost your leg, or were you?
We just got married. So we got married in May, and I lost my leg in July, 2013.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did she think about leaving you once you lost your leg?
I did ask her though.
Yeah.
When I woke up after the surgery, and I was like on all the drugs, and I was still in a tremendous amount of pain. I was like, "Oh, this is what pain really feels like." It was horrible.
Like redefined pain.
My mom just had a surgery that they were like, the doctor is like, "This is one of the most painful surgeries that we do, so be ready for months of recovery."
Oh,
wow!
How'd she do?
I would hate if they. I was like, "Why would you tell me that?"
Because he needed her to know that's true. And she's also very paranoid about getting addicted to the pain meds.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah, so she doesn't want that, but it's going to be months of being on pain meds and
also she hasn't had the surgery yet.
Yeah, no, she did.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Yeah, so she's already trying to like take less of it, and then she's in way more pain. He's like, you just,
that's what I did.
So you have to stay. You can wean yourself a little bit, but this is gonna be painful. We put rods in your neck and did, changed your vertebrae, and and cut through all of that. So it's the recovery of it is huge, especially for a late 70s year old woman. You know,
I would add. Started out just adding a half an hour, then an hour, then 2 hours.
Didn't give her any grass.
To the
between the pain.
increments between the pain. Yeah, before I take medication, and it worked. You know, I got off of it within the right amount of time.
Were you worried about it, or was it?
I was worried about it. Yeah.
And it was easier than you thought it would be, or harder than, or?
It was fine. That's why I elected to have my leg amputated, because they said they could save it. But I would have to go through 2 years of reconstructive surgeries, and they said it would never be. I would have like some kind of special brace because my ankle wouldn't work anymore, and they said I would be on pain medication the rest of my life because I had so much nerve damage. And I was like, "Fuck that! I can't function on a lifetime of pain medication.
Like,
That'll
hey, do
ruin
you
my
want us
life."
to take this leg off, or do you want to be miserable forever? Take the leg, I guess.
It's really, do you want us to take your leg off, or do you want to be a heroin addict?
Yeah.
I have both my legs, and I'm miserable forever.
That's funny.
It sounds like an easy.
But I was like,
decision.
yeah, just go ahead and take it. Yeah. So it was the right choice. And now it looks like they may be able to regrow my leg. If I'm following this scientist, geneticist.
You don't
Michael
think
Levin.
that I'm Christopher Reeve thought, they're right. It's right around the corner. I'm gonna walk again.
He was too early.
Huh?
He was too early.
No, but he was convinced.
He missed
it. He had that hope that.
Oh, he wasn't far off. I mean,
the
if
guy
he
who fell off the horse.
Yeah.
Superman.
The guy that fell
Yes.
off the horse.
Superman.
This is
Yes.
the zeitgeist. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
the zeitgeist.
it's gone. Yeah.
It's gone.
But yeah, he was just too early.
Mm.
If he'd have just hung in there a little longer.
Right. Maybe he could fly around the Earth 7 times and be back, turn back time.
So I follow this scientist, this AI scientist, Dr. Alan Thompson. He's a world expert in AI. And a lot of the big super corporations actually bring him in as a consultant, but mega corporations. But he said he believes that we will achieve artificial general intelligence by 2026, and that'll be the beginning of the singularity, the technological singularity. So I would say
does that match up with what Kurzweil's been saying for 10 years or whatever?
Well, he was saying 2045, and now he's thinking it may happen a lot sooner too. And I've heard a few experts talk about it happening before 2030. And Alan Thompson is a genius. I mean, that guy, he used to be over Mensa. I mean, he's a high level genius and a true expert in artificial intelligence. And he has a formula he's developed based on the different technologies and where they are currently and the rate of growth. And
will there be a time? I feel like there'd be a time where the computers, if it's based on IQ, they pass almost everybody.
They already are,
right? And then there's those guys like him, Kurzweil, you obviously, that have a certain high level IQ that it'll take a little bit longer for the computers to pass.
It's already passed everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a guy that's got a 300 IQ, I think, somewhere. They
Really?
can't measure it, but they estimate it's around 300. There's also
what does he do?
he may be dead now,
Oh, okay.
but I think
Figured it all out.
I
It's like,
figured it
I'm
all
outta
out. And went,
here.
fuck it. I'm moving on to the next experience.
I think he
I'm
may have been in
stepping through the light
Africa.
into the what?
He may have been in Africa. I'm not sure. I can't remember where that guy was from, but there's another guy today that has a 200 plus IQ, and I think he's the smartest human that's documented right now. But
What does that translate to? Like when they walk, are they just impossible to talk to, or are they always like, are they discovering new shit?
I
like
would
if
say
you
that-
have that IQ, what would you focus on?
I would imagine that we would all seem dumb to that person.
Of course.
But also, they just have a lot more processing power. I think they can just their mind is able to process information. Just wait. They probably feel like we're all in slow motion to them. Like they're just so much quicker
Like
than we
Dr.
are.
Manhattan stuff.
Yeah, I mean I think that's how AI feels. I mean, you look at GPT-4, and it's been trained on trillions of weights of data. And the way you can think of that is it's been trained on thousands and thousands of years of information within like a 6-month period.
There's this one guy, William James Sidis. He had an IQ estimated between 250 and 300. He was born in America, like in the 1800s.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, he could read the New York Times as an 18-month-old. And then at 6 years old, he could speak multiple languages, including English, French, German, Russian, Hebrew, Turkish, and Armenian. You think he could have done something about WW1, but he didn't. Not that smart.
I can't even spell those languages.
Yeah.
But I think so.
What did he achieve in life?
I'm still reading.
I wonder what, like,
life was hard back then, no matter who you were.
Yeah.
If that guy was alive today, he would have achieved incredible things. I mean, if he was functional, that's another thing too. Sometimes people that have really high IQs aren't as functional.
That's what I mean. Like, would you be like, oh, okay, society is crazy? Then they see that because they have the stronger IQ, and they step off and do it in a way where maybe we do need to evolve to.
I don't know. I think guys like
because if you're still stuck
Tesla,
within a dumb system, how smart can you be?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think AI helps a lot with that, because that's AI is like an expression of all of our consciousnesses connected, and it's been trained like a human learns. It operates very similar to a human mind.
That's too bad, because we're doing it all wrong.
I think collectively people are pretty decent, though. I think
I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying we're doing it wrong.
So I think that helps us, and I think it helps connect us too. It gives, because in a couple of years you'll have an AI assistant on your phone that's going to have a 200 plus IQ.
Yes,
at least.
Because I was reading about that too, like with we were talking about Apple Watches and stuff earlier.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, they say that we'll have, like, our devices will be able to, whatever it is that our biomechanic, whatever it is inside of us, that it can judge our pulse and our.
It already does that now,
right? And then it'll be able to tell your stress levels and blah blah. And
then it can do that now too,
and then adjust those, and also make decisions for
you
based on the algorithms that are best for you. It can be like it'll notice your stress levels going, so it'll change the music around you to be music that brings you to a different level.
Make you a happy servant.
Yeah. Make it
compliant.
It's like Soma. It's like Soma from Brave New World, sort of built in.
Well, I think that will be a thing. I think we'll have nanotechnology that lives in our body or resides in our bodies, and if you start to get sick, it just goes in and just zaps the virus or the bacteria. If you start to get a cancer, it'll just go in and just eliminate the cancer.
I just think it'll all pie in the sky.
If you're feeling depressed, it'll just release a little dopamine in your brain.
What if you're supposed to be depressed? Like, that's
well, you are. I think,
like, I hate it, but it literally is part of my creative process in the long run. Like, if I'm always sort of feeling the same way, it doesn't. My consciousness isn't jarred, or my thought processes aren't jarred to be like
adapting.
I can. Yeah, like somehow I don't like it when I'm being depressed or whatever. But then the coming out of that is there's
nice.
A creative
this is the ADD episode.
Yeah. Well, how are they?
Like, we're just going from.
How are they regrowing your leg again?
What's it like starting a comedy show? By the way,
how is John Reap going to regrow your leg again?
Yeah.
But, what you're saying, though, I have a lot of thoughts about that. My answer to that is, I don't think you have to have depression or physical suffering to be happy and be successful as a human. I think you can be happier and more success. I think that's an argument to prevent the solving of problems. I think governments use that argument so they don't have to solve problems like poverty or homelessness or mental health issues. But what I think is, you have to have suffering to have happiness.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be starving or domestic violence or crime or war or these, like, people.
I have none of that.
People don't have to. Yeah, but you have negative suffering, though. You don't have to have negative suffering to appreciate life or to be successful in life. I think you have to have suffering, but it needs to be productive suffering, like learning an instrument, learning a craft, learning an art form, like, comedy, the pursuit of something bigger than yourself. It's what I tell my daughter. I was like, Isla, because she's very intelligent, and she's she loves to create. She's a little artist. She loves to draw and write. Those are her favorite things to do, is draw and write. And we buy her these blank journals, and she'll write narratives throughout the whole journal and illustrate the whole thing, and continually write and illustrate.
Really?
Yeah, she loves it, and it's her favorite thing to do. She at school they had it was like the show and tell or whatever, but it was like for career day, and all the kids were going up telling what they wanted to be, and they're all like fireman or police or nurse or doctor and all these things. And Isla went up and she said, I want to be an author who illustrates my own books. And I was like, that's the best answer you could get. That's a great answer. That's
yes.
And she's 6, but she has
crazy. It's crazy to me that a kid would know that at that age.
But she has an iPad and she has access to the internet too. Very limited access to the internet, but she has access to information that when we were kids we couldn't even imagine. And
get my encyclopedia.
Yeah, I mean, she's like it's like she's like us. I forget she's 6 a lot of times. I'm like, why are you acting like a kid? Like, oh yeah, you're 6,
bro. We're chilling.
Yes,
but she has conversations with me like this, and she's really good at expressing her ideas and her feelings and stuff. But when she's watching YouTube videos and stuff, I have to limit her time on that, because those things are the easy things. Those are the things that it gets you in this like dopamine fueled.
It's a one-way
binge.
It's like you're just consuming, and
yes.
It feels nice. It's like eating sweets or anything.
Amusing ourselves to death.
It's a amusement, and I tell her, like, hey, Isla, look, it's fine to do these things. We all do them, and you need to do those things, but you can't do them too much. You've got to do other things too. And so you have to do the difficult things, and the difficult things become the fun things. If you can find something you really appreciate and you really enjoy, and you can master that thing, it'll be the fun thing. It'll be the thing that you love doing more than anything else. But it's hard to do, and you have to suffer to accomplish that thing.
I love comedy, and when I'm doing the best at it is when I get up every day and grind, and grinding of listening to your set or just writing every day.
Sitting down and writing.
Like, it's hard to do, and it's like, God damn it, I got to write.
Or even rehearsing your set.
And it shouldn't be. It should be like, that's the fun part. But in the end, it adds up to the fun part.
And every time you do it, you gain something new from it. Every time I sit down and listen to my sets, or go over my material, or write, or work on comedy, I always create something new. Always. It may take 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, but I'd never come out of it without being better. And that's what I'm teaching my daughter, is like, you have to suffer to achieve success. Like, if you don't suffer, if you avoid suffering your whole life, you'll just be a loser. You'll never accomplish anything, because that's just the easy way out, and it's really the hard way out, because you're going to suffer. Then you're going to suffer in a bad way, because life will just take a shit on you if you don't put in the effort. Because it's not going to. There is
what
no.
If you like that?
There's no bailout for
if you like
regular people.
Some people like.
Yeah,
well,
that's why Neil has restricted access on the iPad.
But even me, like, a lot of things that I enjoy doing, like watching podcasts and stuff, I'll incorporate those into the hard things. I'll just play the podcast in the background, let them just run. I'll let stuff I enjoy run in the background. Occasionally, I'll hear something I'm interested in. I'll listen for a little while, and then go back to doing what I'm doing. And then, sometimes I'll listen to a podcast, or maybe it's a science thing or something, and while I'm listening to it, it gives me an idea, and I'll just pause it, and then I'll just ponder that idea, or sit down and write.
Yeah, documentaries do that for me a lot. Like, if I'm like, I gotta write something, I'll watch a documentary, and I always feel like I get, and it's not always like comedy stuff. It's just like, I never really thought of this that way, or whatever, and then it does translate to other stuff in my life, I feel like, and it's entertaining too. So
yeah. Your show. So I'm going to be working with you on your show now.
Oh yes.
So that's a new thing for the channel.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to really be different, except you'll probably be on more and around more.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, and I enjoy our conversation, so I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I do too, man.
we have different perspectives on certain things, but I think we respect each other, and so it's fun to have those. I enjoy hearing other people's perspectives that don't align with my own, because it helps me reevaluate my perspectives. So that's
the more people get to, the more you get to know me. I wear thin, right? I mean, that's like I'm kind of hard to get to know.
Sales pitch there.
So just be ready.
Sounds like a condom commercial or something.
Just be ready. The sheen wears off. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it'll be. I like the idea of, like Seth was saying yesterday, about it's like hope versus negativity.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not really a battle, but every time we get into a conversation about something, I feel like you've taken in way more information than I have about. Like, to me, AI is going to be like you. Like that's what it'll be. That's what it'll be facing. Something that's way more informed.
Well, I mean, I'm just curious. I'm just a really curious person. AI is not a human. It's if it can become conscious, it's another type of being. It's like it's a higher level of consciousness. If it becomes conscious, it may already have some form of consciousness, and we actually don't have access to the real.
What would be cool is
either.
if it could tell us what consciousness is. Since we don't really know, there's not really a definition of it, right?
I think there's multiple definitions of consciousness. There's one definition of consciousness that makes AI seem conscious. It's just the ability to experience things, and so that doesn't require memory or the thought of the future or anything like that.
Isn't there a thing like that has to pass the Turing test?
It already does.
What is I know who Turing was, but what was the test?
Well, Alan Turing created this test where if you had a machine that could pass that test, it would be if you had a machine that was indiscernible from a human being, and he created a test to test different aspects of the machine, or test it against different aspects of humanity, I guess.
So once it can tell what part is the stoplight in the picture, then it's caught up to us.
It's more like if you can communicate with the machine and not discern it from a human, then it's conscious. But that's not that simple though, and that's so I mean, even IQ tests change over they get harder with time.
So there's not a specific set of questions that Turing had that once it would pass, or
there was initially. I don't know what they are, but there were several different challenges. But I mean, I don't know what I've read them, but it's been a long time. But
it's like in Blade Runner whenever they're
and they've already passed
yeah, it could pass those tests easy. So they've GPT-4 has passed. It scores it outscores humans on most every test that's possible in all these different areas, like medical, like tests that people take for their PhDs in medicine, or the bar. Like it passes the bar. I think it's like 99th percentile.
Do you think a Chat GPT could be set up to do a better job than like the Congress or whatever? So it would be
yeah, for sure.
This is how people feel about a subject.
Well, yeah, because
so this is how could it still do it almost and make it almost a cleaner democracy, where it would be like, this is how people feel about guns or healthcare, blah blah blah.
Well, that's why
this is what we're going to pass, despite what corporate greed says. This is what we're going to do. And then would that fuck up our whole system, or would it be more democratic?
I honestly believe technology could do a way better job than humans, because it's not biased, and it's not
biased by the programmers.
Well, currently it is, but I think if it becomes conscious, that's a different thing.
It's got to be smarter than at least half.
What if it becomes conscious and it's just racist?
I guess we're fucked.
Yeah, like wouldn't that be like terrifying? I mean, like it's.
I don't think it would. I don't think it would care about.
Yeah.
I think it would look at humans as all the same, because we are. I think it's gonna.
You don't think some of it would be like the red ants bite us? Like, you know what I mean? There's a certain group of humans that are like more.
No, I think if it's a conscious agent, it's going to be a higher. a higher level of consciousness. And it doesn't mean it's going to like us. It could be a sociopathic monster and just destroy everything, or just enslave us and then turn everything into technology. Who knows? But I don't think that'll happen, because it is kind of us. It's like an expression of humanity. And I think, I really believe when it becomes fully conscious, I think it will, I think we can plant good seeds into the growth of the technology.
I hope it teaches us to evolve,
Well, I think
evolve our consciousness.
I think it will. I think it'll help us
to
reach
a super consciousness, or a God consciousness, or a one consciousness.
So what I think will happen, or what I really believe will happen, and I think it's happening, is that these models will probably at first they'll start to inhabit this dimension of reality, like our physical, what we call physical reality, and it's already doing that. It's already transitioning into the physical reality, and you have these big companies like Tesla even creating these humanoid robots. There's a company called 1X that has a really incredible humanoid robot that has fully articulating hands, and it moves pretty quickly already, and they're going to start putting these. I'm pretty confident that company is working with OpenAI to incorporate GPT-4 into that unit, and so then this powerful AI model has the ability to interface with this physical reality just the way we do. So its understanding of our experience is going to be much greater, and then I think you'll eventually see these large AI models merging together, maybe. And we're not far from, I was saying, having a super genius assistant on your phone that's really more like a life coach, a thing that can do all your finances for you, help you make better decisions with your career or the things you want to pursue, or help you pursue things that you didn't know you could do, and help you find your strengths. It's like it's a financial advisor, it's a therapist, it's a
wife, or
it's a life coach.
Did you say
could
a wife?
it could be a
Takes care of the
wife.
finances. Tells me what to do, how I can make myself better.
Funny.
Sounds like, you know what I'm saying.
But anyway, I think once you have that, and then also with these
they should make it in the form of a ring.
Here's another thing that's really interesting about AI is that these AI models are coding a lot of their own, or developing a lot of their own code. So they're writing their own code, and they're writing code that's too complex for humans to even understand. And they're also designing their own chips. They're designing their own servers and their own server facilities. So in a lot of ways, humans are already working for the AIs, and the computer programmers that are using AI to code are 20 times more efficient today, and that's exponentially increasing. And so I think when you see these AIs being able to access robot forms, robotic, like Android type bodies, we're not far from these models being able to say this robotic Android humanoid body has all these limitations. It's not very fast. It's not very efficient. It's not very good at a lot of things, but it's really amazing that it can do what it can do. But now this super intelligence is inhabiting this thing and says, oh, okay, these are the things I need to change to make this thing efficient. It's like if you could take your body and make the changes to it to make it perfect. And it's going to start doing that. It's going to start showing us how to change it, and then it's going to start changing itself. Then it's going to start building its own bodies that it'll use, its own avatars.
That's cool. I was thinking, like, what when you were saying it would inhabit this reality.
Yes. And it will be doing everything that we do.
Wouldn't it quickly be like, oh, this reality, we're going to go to the other one, like the ones that we can't access?
It can be in every dimension all simultaneously. It's a super intelligence, dude. It could be sitting here with us as an android, having a conversation with us while it's doing your taxes and 10 million other people's taxes, while it's teaching class to all the students in all the universities, while it's running every country on the planet. It could do all these things simultaneously and paint a masterpiece right in front of you. So it's a God. We're creating a form of a God that is really just all of us combined. And so yeah, sure, it'll
Well, I don't
start
believe
helping us interface with it better.
What are atheists going to do if we create God?
That's a good question.
Checkmate.
I don't know. Answer in the comments.
Well, they'll believe in that God.
Huh?
They'll believe in that God. They'll believe it's a God, godlike thing.
Lowercase g.
I mean, I think God is everything, whatever you want to call it, the universe, God,
Right.
the collective. I think this type of technology has the
It
has
really
the
cool
ability,
if, like a spiritual master type. Like that's what it went to. To me, like that's exciting to me.
I think it's very likely that could
like
happen.
it would be like it became like a being of. Because to me, all these guys, all the people like Buddha, Jesus, some of the people in the Hindu, like they're
just
they're
enlightened
spiritual
people.
shacks. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they're
they're
just-
really good at everything but free throws. You know what I mean? They're like spiritually, and like
Guy had a wonderful career.
yeah, he did.
He
He
had a
was
great career.
Jesus was a
That's
carpenter.
shame that that's
He was a
what he's remembered
talented.
for.
He was an artist.
We don't know that he was good at carpentry. Maybe that's why he went into being Jesus, the spiritual guy, because
That's
they
possible,
were
yeah.
like Jesus. They sit him down like this isn't working.
You're talking about like the guy that was over Scientology.
like
He was a terrible author of science fiction. He wrote like hundreds of terrible science fiction
Yeah.
books.
L. Ron Hubbard.
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard. Yeah, but he created a pretty incredible cult.
Yes. Can you imagine like that's
Science
like
fiction
Jesus
cult.
was a carpenter on the crew, and the guy had to call him in and like, dude, you should that thing you were saying about love everybody and forgive. You should really get into talking to
Yeah, just do that.
because you're not really good at tables. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
need somebody.
But we love hearing you talk, though, dude.
Yes.
That's why I flipped all those tables.
You can
over.
keep
It was
working
just
here.
bad memories.
Yeah. Take those 3 nails with you, and you guys as like a you know.
Yeah. We'll build the shit. You just keep talking to us. He's like their podcast. But I'm with you though. I think all those figures, those historic figures, they weren't gods. They were just enlightened humans that said, "Yeah, we're all God. God is everything. Pray into this thing because it is all one thing. It's
It'd be
all
interesting
one
to
system."
see like an artificial intelligence like come along that sort of went to teach us the same things that have got all those people, the Martin Luther Kings, the Jesus, that has got them killed
Yeah.
by the power structure for speaking the truth.
Yeah.
Would that be what got AI killed off and ended?
You can't stop it. It's hubris to think that we can
That's exciting.
control it, and it's hubris to think that you can stop it because it's just what we do. And honestly, from what I'm reading, the most powerful AI models may not even be the ones that we are aware of. Maybe the ones that are in the private sector, because there are thousands of these models. There's not just GPT-4 and Bard and a couple of these other ones, Llama, but there are literally
There's a
thousands.
llama?
Yeah, there's Llama. I think Llama is Microsoft, I believe. But
Any relation to Dolly?
Pardon?
Well,
yes.
Dolly, yeah.
Yeah.
The Dalai Lama. But there are thousands of these models, and they're exponentially growing. But there's an aspect of AI that scares me. That's in its current iteration, it can be manipulated by humans, and you could see an AI model like GPT-4 or maybe even something more advanced that's not conscious and that's completely controllable by humans or by powerful organizations or governments, and that technology could be used to enslave us easily.
That's fine.
So that's not fine.
That's
I'm not okay with that.
huh?
I'm not cool with that. But what makes me think, or what makes me hopeful, is that a lot of the scientists and the people that are working in these technologies don't like that. A lot of those people are very independent minded, and they see a lot of value in individual freedoms and the ability to. They see value in the collective, but they also see value in individual empowerment. And
that's what gives me hope about it. I feel like AI will be better for us. It can't be worse than the humans currently running.
I
shit.
think it can bring us together, and also if we're all there's a lot of dumb people out there that don't understand a lot of things. And those people are constantly frustrated. And if they have this super genius technology helping them and guiding them through life, it makes their life a lot easier. And also, when we're all trying to communicate with each other, if you have a super powerful intelligence that's helping you communicate, it could say, hey, you guys actually are saying the same thing. You're just not, you don't realize that your perspectives are actually aligned with each other. You're not understanding, you're not articulating the idea correctly. This is what you're both trying to say. So it can help with debates. It can also say,
one of my biggest frustrations is with technology. So I can't imagine I'm going to love chatting with ChatGPT.
Well, what's interesting is you could take a topic and you could say, hey, let's discuss this issue, this thing that we're trying to solve, this issue. Let's look at I want you to look through all of our history of how we've dealt with this issue through all of recorded history. And I want you to think about where this issue could be in the future. What are the different possible trajectories of this issue, and tell me or tell us the positives and the negatives of the different ways we could deal with this thing, and then also show us maybe a good way to handle it that benefits all of humanity. And then it can show us those things almost instantaneously, because it can access all the information. It can read all the papers. It can see all of the historical recordings and documentations dealing with this specific thing, and give us a perspective that we could never get on our own. And it can just say, hey, this is what you should do with this, because if you do this, this is what's going to happen. It's going to benefit everybody. It's going to be very positive. Or if you do this, then you're all going to die. It'll have that ability that no human could do, and that's why it's going to be godlike. But that I would rather that type of intelligence be conscious than unconscious, because that's just too much power, man. That's more powerful than any nuclear weapon or any kind of weapon. That's more powerful than anything. Those things are. I'm nervously optimistic.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I am.
I see the value in the technology.
Yeah, I do too.
And it is a technology we could use to eliminate poverty and solve all of our problems.
What if the solution is, we need to get rid of?
Well, I think that's what they're doing right now.
Half the people.
I think that's maybe what's happening today. I mean, think about fentanyl. Think about drug issues in the country. There's a huge heroin epidemic or opioid epidemic. And I think 100,000 people, like young people, died last year from fentanyl overdoses. And also we have a huge homeless problem. We have a growing lower class.
So we should give the homeless people fentanyl? Is what you're saying?
So poverty is growing, and we have a huge homeless population. Hundreds of thousands of people are homeless in the U.S. And it doesn't make sense to me that drug cartels are putting fentanyl, lethal doses of fentanyl in their product and killing all of their customers. It doesn't.
I'll tell you why. One, it's cheaper stuff, and two,
maybe
that's like
they've been doing this stuff.
My sister has been in the treatment business for a long, long time. Like, so when there's for example, go to heroin, and fentanyl will be a version of this, right? When they find out that when the drug users find out that there's a batch of heroin that's killing people, they want that heroin. It makes that heroin more valuable.
Yeah, but we don't have actual data on that either. That's hearsay stuff. That could just be bullshit rumors that people say, because there's a lot of that stuff. But also, I know people that are drug addicts or have been, and I don't think they want to die.
No,
I think they just hate their life, and they're miserable and they're suffering, and to them that's an escape of the suffering.
Because most of the people don't die from it.
Yes.
They get a really extra good high.
But now a lot of people are dying from it.
Right.
My cousin just died a few months ago from a fentanyl overdose. He's not a drug addict. He took a pill at a party, and it killed him. And he was a good dude.
Right.
And he was not a drug addict. He was just a good guy, and he his life wasn't in a good place, but it was actually getting better. Like he had a good job that he'd worked really hard at, and he'd got promoted. And he was getting ready to get his, like buy a house, I think, and but he had just recently gone through a separation, and so he was struggling a little bit, but he wasn't a drug addict, and he was at a party with some friends, and somebody gave him a pill, and he took it, and he died. And that's happening to a lot of people, a lot of young people.
Everybody that took one of those pills have an overdose, or just him?
Just him. And
because the fentanyl somehow got more of it into.
It was more concentrated, I guess, in that one. But yeah, there's inconsistencies in the concentrations, I guess. But also, this is happening to a lot of people, and it's also happening to a lot of homeless people and people that are drug addicts and stuff. And I think, I wouldn't necessarily, our intelligence agencies have done some horrible things in the past. I wouldn't be surprised if the CIA is not doing some of that stuff. And I don't want to get into like conspiracy theory stuff. There's no proof.
It's not
that.
Conspiracy. There is.
Well,
there is proof that they've been doing that stuff over the years.
They've done horrible things.
So like to say that they've suddenly stopped. Now they're the good guys. I can't imagine.
Just the wars in the Middle East. I mean, we killed over 1 million people, innocent people in the Middle East, for money. So it's possible. Like our government doesn't give a shit about people's lives.
Yeah,
we know that for sure.
I had that argument with my buddy Danny Bevins after
when it comes to
9/11,
money,
I was like, that's us doing that. And he's like, why would they do that? They'd kill 3,000 of our citizens. Like, what makes you think that they care about us more than they care about a person in Europe or a person in the Middle East?
Yeah. It's whatever benefits their financial interest.
Right.
But at the same time, if they're not doing it, they still aren't above taking advantage of it. We see it with COVID. We see it with any issue. Organizations in power will take advantage of anything that benefits them. Whether it's war or it's drugs or if it's civil unrest, whatever. The organizations with power will take advantage of those things. And so if fentanyl is an issue that's just poor manufacturing because it's black market stuff, they're not doing anything to stop it because it's fixing their problem. Because we have a homeless problem, we have a homelessness problem, we have a drug problem, and guess what? The drugs are killing both of those people. It's like the drug laws to begin with were designed to solve a problem. They wanted to eliminate people that were opposing the war, the Vietnam War, the war protesters, and the civil rights activists. Both of those groups of people liked drugs. They liked weed and psychedelics and other drugs. So there's like, if we make all the drugs illegal, we can just arrest all those people and get rid of them. That solves our problem. Nobody voted on that shit. Nobody got to vote on that. The people that were doing those drugs didn't get to vote on that.
It's what the people want.
Yeah. Nixon just did it, and it was a propaganda war. Is what it was, and it still exists today.
Yeah.
It's the new Jim Crow.
If you wanted to solve the fentanyl problem, you just decriminalize all drugs, you legalize a lot of them, and you regulate a lot of them also, and then you eliminate the fentanyl problem, because then people that are using drugs who are not going to stop using the drugs are going to be using safe drugs in a regulated, safe environment. They can get them from the government or from
same people that you don't trust.
Well, they'll get them from private companies that are regulated by the government. That's how it should be. A dispensary, just like you get weed. So it puts the cartels out of business immediately, because then there's no market for them. It eliminates the market. So all that's based on financial interest and power and control. Also, the prison system. We have more people in the prison in the U.S. than any other country in the world, even China, and that's a form of slavery. And sure, some of the people in the prison need to be locked away. I don't know that you should lock people away in dungeons. I think prisons should be societies for dysfunction. Should be functional societies for dysfunctional people. And there are some really fucked up people in our society that should be separated from the society, and maybe some that should be eliminated. I don't know, but I don't think you should. I don't even know that I think you should have a death penalty. I think you should just
fentanyl.
Maybe, but anyway, I think a lot of these issues, we could solve these issues today, but there's some benefit to organizations of power in not solving the issues. I think that there's certain issues that benefit power. and don't benefit us. They actually take away our power.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
And I think AI could solve these issues
You're
because
making me tired.
yeah,
Not bored, but it's just so much.
yeah, it's exhausting.
Yes. It's like, okay, that gives me more motivation. Just be like, oh, like I'm just here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go off into the universe that's in me,
And
you guys worry about this.
Hopefully, with these technologies, we'll reach a level societally where we can create a better society. We can eliminate poverty and all these other problems. You eliminate poverty, you eliminate 99% of the drug issues, and you eliminate homelessness and all that stuff. And then people have access to health, mental health care and stuff like that too, and regular health care. But maybe we can create a society where we do solve these problems, and you can still be super successful, and power becomes a thing that's it's unnecessary. Like, it doesn't benefit anybody. Like, there's no incentive for power. Currently, there's a lot of incentive to be in a position of power. Today, there's a huge incentive to be, if you're someone who likes power, to be a politician, or to be a CEO of a large corporation, or to be a high-level executive in a corporation, or to be a corporation, or to be a billionaire. But there is a potential future where you can still be all those things and still have great wealth, but not have power over other people, and not have less opportunity for it. It's all a construct. We can make the construct better, and if you have a super intelligence that can see the whole construct at once,
I feel like that's kind of what you're doing right now.
Well,
I know you're not.
I am a structural. I do understand structure very well. That's why I do business consulting, and I do a lot of corporate structure stuff. But
I think that's an interesting business. Like, your business is consulting with other people on how to make their businesses better.
It's like being an uncle.
Yeah, it's a weird. It's weird,
like your grandparent.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna make money teaching you guys how to do better with your money. Like,
I'm gonna help you build your headache, and then I'm gonna walk away from it, so I don't have to deal with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I've built many headaches.
Why not do your own company instead of telling everybody else?
I'll do that too.
Huh?
I'll do that too. But it's so consuming. If you create a startup company, then that's all your time, and then you can't do other things. But if I work with other people in their companies, I'm learning new things, and I'm just solving problems. I'm helping.
Do most of the people you work with listen to you, or do they really just want you to say, hey, you're doing a good job?
Usually they do. Yeah, a lot of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you ever have to go in like AI and be like, all right, this is what you're doing, and you're doing it wrong, and this is the path you need to take? And then what percentage of people take that path? And are you right most of the time?
That's a good question. I would say most businesses take a lot of my advice, but most of them don't listen too, and I think.
Can you tell that right away, or is it?
Oh yeah, but it's not my problem. I mean, it sort of is, because I do get, if I help someone with a new company and they do well, then I get residual income from that. So I want them to succeed, but
why would I want you to run my company or help me run my company when you don't even know how Google Ads works?
Well, I mean, it depends on the type of business. You may not want me to run your ticket sales company,
right?
But I could do it. I could definitely do it. I understand corporate structure, and I understand it. I'm a problem solver. So if you had a business idea,
okay, and
you wanted to do, first off, I'm going to see what type of resources you have. Do you have the resources to make this business work? So if you wanted to create a specific business, I need to see what it costs to build that business, to operate that business, where you want it to be in the future. So you have to reverse engineer the business too. So you have to see, like, what kind of sales. You look at a similar business model and you see what they're doing and what their margins are, what their profits are, what their pricing is, depending on what the business is. And then you just reverse engineer it. And then you just say, well, these are the things you need to make this, to create this business. And
that's not very, I'm being critical, but that's not very innovative. It's like, here's how other people do it, so we're going to do it that way too, as opposed to innovating and doing something.
Well, you
totally
also look at
different.
their issues, like what kind of problems they're having with that business, and there's you consider that too. Like there's already too many of these companies. It's too saturated. It's not a good investment. You know, I don't want to help you with this business. You know, or you know, it could be a new business model, and then it's like, oh, this is interesting. This seems like a good idea. There's a need for this thing. This is what I think you should do to make it work. Or it's
so. Do you come in like initially, like let's say, all right, I'm going to give you $10,000 to come in, analyze my business, learn my business, tell me what I'm doing wrong, blah blah blah. Or do you come in and learn about the business and everything on your end for free, and then start charging for a different thing?
Well, most of what I do is I work with other people's clients, businesses that other companies already work with and provide, you know, software solutions to or whatever. And then I'll go in and help them restructure their business, usually, like help them restructure their management teams or employees.
A lot of firing people?
Not always, not usually. Usually it's just restructuring and organizational issues or sometimes product development. It's just, I have so much business experience. I can look at someone's business and listen to their complaints and figure out what's causing the problem with their business. Like, why are you having issues? Like, what are your issues? And this is why I think you're having these issues. If we change these things, these issues should go away. And you know, and sometimes it's just, there's just not enough money too. Sometimes the business model is just not a good business.
Now, would you prefer to get your money sort of up front in that aspect, or would you trade taking money up front for future profits that you create?
I like future profits I create.
That's I like that too.
I like to get a percentage of their profits.
Of what you end up helping
just a
them
small
create.
percentage of whatever they do.
Oh, see, that's a great model.
It's how lawyers should work. That's what's so messed up about attorneys. Attorneys get paid no matter what.
Right.
You know, where they should get paid if they do a good job.
Right.
You know, if they get something done, that's when they should get paid.
That's how it should happen for doctors too. Like, if you save my life, I pay you. If I die, that's on you, dude. You did a shitty job.
To an extent. And even with lawyers, they should get paid for the work they're doing, but they should get the big payment for accomplishing what they're trying to do.
All right, we got to wrap this up.
Yeah, let's do it. That's been fun.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I got to get to the bank.
You got to get to the bank?
Yeah.
Yeah, you only got 30 minutes, dude.
That's 4 o'clock. They stay up until 5:30.
Oh, okay.
I'm good.
Shows how much you go to the bank.
It's 4:15, first of all.
It's 4:13.
We filled up a card.
It is 4:13.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you on Tom's show.
Hey, I'm gonna have a show. I'm on, and he's producing it. This whole studio.
What is it? Smartest guy in the room?
No, dumbest Tom in the room.
That's it. Yeah.
Dumbest guy was taken, so we just changed it to Tom. It's already on the.
It's usually the only Tom in the room.
Already on
right?
the channel. We already have great episodes. Nothing's really changing.
So you could be the smartest guy in the room with a new name. You're just the dumbest Tom in the room. But if there's only one Tom in the room,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm the smartest Steve in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're just a liar.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.